Good afternoon, everyone. It is David Schlotthauer here, and we are tracking severe weather across central Texas today in Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas as the HRRR is predicting numerous supercells along a dry line as it propagates eastward. In fact, it has already allowed the Storm Prediction Center to extend their slight risk of severe weather now into Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas, driven by a 5% chance of tornadoes across the smack dab of central Texas. A significant threat for large hail, where we could see hailstones over 2 inches in diameter in some spots. And then, of course, since there is dry air behind this dry line, that can get mixed into the atmosphere, allowing for evaporative cooling processes to take place. And this could lead to some serious wind concerns over central Texas, Oklahoma, and southeastern Kansas, where we could see wind gusts over 65 miles an hour. So when looking at the HRRR model, which is a high-resolution rapid refresh, we can see individual supercells really firing up across central Texas into Dallas-Fort Worth area this afternoon into the evening hours, as well as southeastern Oklahoma, because of that daytime heating, that dry line that is going to be the focal point for all of this action to take place. So going forward, we can see these storms do look to get more organized. Look at this. Some of these could be capable of producing significant hailstones over central and northern Oklahoma. One is right there, riding the state line of say, Oklahoma into Kansas, and that one could pose a threat for some big-time hail. And then, of course, in central Texas is where we have all the action. But look at, that's not it. Let's go into Friday morning. On the HRRR, we got another round of severe thunderstorms that could shape up, and that's because of that dry line that just wants to hug there, wants to move further east, and every time it does, it's going to give us a round of severe weather. And this goes into Abilene, Texas. So again, please be aware of that in the overnight hours. We could see some severe weather, and then it fires up again tomorrow for the deep south, like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas, including yet again for the northern end of Texas there near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But that's probably going to be more cold core nature type storms versus the storms over to the east. Therefore, this is why the Storm Prediction Center has issued that slight risk for severe weather for central northern Texas into southwestern Oklahoma, northeastern Oklahoma, down straight across Tulsa, Oklahoma, as well as Oklahoma City. So keep that in mind this afternoon. Probably want to stay inside because some of these storms could pose a big hail threat, wind and tornado threat too, and that slight risk goes all the way clearly into Kansas as well as western Missouri. But like I just iterated at the beginning of the video, there's that small 5% chance for tornadoes, and that's right where the strongest forcing is. That's where we have the best chances for discrete supercell formation as well. And we're already beginning to see things try to organize with some convection that is attempting to develop along that dry line. And that 2% risk goes all the way again into central Oklahoma and out across the eastern Missouri area. But of course, it's going to be the hail. Big hail threat today is driven by this slight risk as well for central Texas, for western into, say, the western half there of, say, Oklahoma, under a significant risk for large hail. And then the wind damage threat, winds exceeding 65 miles an hour, look pretty probable today in that slight risk area, with a 5% surrounding that over much of Texas into Oklahoma and Missouri. So yeah, severe weather today, it's going to be pretty significant in some sense as far as the hail goes, but tomorrow looks to be even more significant. This is why, because the HRRR has been very consistently spitting out supercells in many areas. I mean, we're talking numerous supercells in Louisiana, Mississippi, as well as Alabama. So tomorrow's threat looks to be a little bit more heightened because of this storm mode that is shaping up to being the case. And yeah, you can see that there, like all the way into, say, Saturday early morning, Friday night. Wow, a lot of supercells could be a big problem. And then that kind of consolidates into more of a solid line of heavy rainfall by early Saturday morning over Georgia and the Carolinas. And once again, there's a day 2 slight risk also for the same areas, only a little further to the east, like Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. It's not just your typical slight risk. This is heightened by a 5% chance for tornadoes in the same area. So again, a lot of populated areas going to be impacted by the threat for tornadoes also into the day tomorrow. So we're probably going to be going live on this too. And then a significant 15% risk for large hailstones exceeding 2 inches in diameter, with a 15% risk for damaging winds that could also exceed 65 to 75 miles an hour. But that's not all. The Storm Prediction Center has also issued a slight risk for severe weather, both for Saturday into Sunday for Georgia, the Carolinas, including for southeastern portion there of Alabama and Florida, driven only by a 15% non-sig for severe weather. But wait, there's even more. The Weather Prediction Center forecasts a lot of rainfall for Georgia and the Carolinas here, as you can see. Possibly as much as 4 inches of rain could fall in the matter of a couple of days, which is going to lead to a lot of flood problems. Not only that, if you're in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, as well as Missouri, you're going to see as much as 2 to 3 inches of rainfall in a short amount of time. For Maine, you might see as much as 2 inches. This is exactly why the day 1 excessive rainfall outlook from the Weather Prediction Center has went slight over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Not only that, it's because it's a populated area with a marginal risk for heavy rainfall and flooding over Missouri, Arkansas, into Kansas, as well as the rest of Texas into northern Louisiana. But guess what? Let's look at day 2, because that's the worst day on this map. There is a moderate risk for heavy rainfall and flooding in a metropolitan area of the Atlanta, Georgia region, including for central and western portion there of, say, Alabama. But you get the idea. There's a marginal risk into Illinois, Missouri, as well as Arkansas because of excessive rainfall amounts that are anticipated. We go into day 3 with a slight risk for heavy rainfall over the Carolinas, like South Carolina especially is well flooded in it, with a slight risk for southern portion there of North Carolina. A marginal risk for heavy rainfall and flooding looks to be a case for the Great Lakes region, including for the Northeast. Now, the reason why the severe weather is going to be a multi-day threat will be because of this big trough that is barreling across the Midwest. That, topped with the dry line, will be the perfect focal point for a lot of forcing along that boundary to trigger that severe weather too. Now, before I do end the video, I do have 5 important announcements to share with you all. As always, I've been mentioning this in my past few videos. I am going to be hosting a total solar eclipse live stream on Monday, April the 8th, 2024. It begins in my location at Kerrville, Texas at 12:15 p.m. We're going to be making the drive to Kerrville, Texas on April the 3rd. It's going to be a very exciting event. And not only that, I will be doing a Q&A live stream on April the 2nd about what my plans are for this solar eclipse. So I highly recommend you all joining that stream so that way your questions can be answered if you have any. And then, of course, my first Atlantic Hurricane Seasonal Outlook will be released on April the 15th. So on Monday, April the 15th, is when it will come out. And then my first routine tropical weather outlook will begin on May 25th, and it will run through November the 1st. But as always, you could also follow me here on Discord at Weather Force Today. There will be a link in the description below this video, along to go with my Twitter page as well. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Be sure you do subscribe to the channel for more latest updates. Hit the like button and share this video with their family and friends. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll be back in the home weather office tomorrow with another detailed weather update and a live stream potentially.